Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel where I help people with insomnia who have tried absolutely everything to get more sleep and nothing seems to work, to be able to get the sleep that they need. If I can do it after 30 years of trying everything, so can you. So never give up hope. Now, in today's video, we're going to be talking about a racing mind. If you have chronic insomnia, there's a very good chance that you experience a racing mind as well. This is a really common symptom, and we're going to talk about why this happens and what to do about it. So let's start off talking about why this happens, because I know how scary it can be when you go to bed, your mind is just going crazy, your thoughts are just running around and you have no idea what is happening, and you seem to have no control over all these thoughts that are going on, and they're keeping you awake, they're stressing you out likely, and you overall probably feel a little anxious. And believe it or not, all this is happening because your brain is trying to keep you safe. Now I know this sounds crazy, so keep listening on because I will explain why this is and why you can be grateful to your brain for trying to keep you safe. And don't worry, we'll talk about the strategies to reduce the racing mind so you can sleep more. Your mind won't keep you awake. It takes time, but you can get there with these strategies. So let's go ahead and get started. So in 99% of my videos on here, I talk about the root cause of chronic insomnia. But in case you haven't seen any of my other videos, you haven't, or you've forgotten maybe, here is a little brief overview. So when we have some kind of disrupted sleep, like medication side effects or hormones, menopause, all these different things that can cause disrupted sleep, when we start to react to fear of losing sleep, fear of not sleeping, and we're trying to escape it, these are sending signals to your brain that you are in danger. Your brain doesn't know that there's not an actual physical threat out there. All it knows is you're fearing something and trying to escape it. So your brain starts to activate that fight or flight system, which is meant to keep you awake, keep you in a lighter sleep, so that if there's danger nearby, you can react quickly. If you're in a deep sleep, that could be a dangerous situation. Your brain does not want you to have deep, long sleep. So it's going to keep you in a lighter sleep. It's going to keep you're not going to be getting as much sleep so that you can react. Now, when it comes to chronic insomnia, we start to lose more and more and more sleep, and we become more and more fearful. We worry more, we fear more, we try to escape sleeplessness even more, which is telling your brain that the danger must be even bigger than it previously thought. So it needs to amplify things. It's going to amplify the fight or flight, it's going to amplify the sleep anxiety, it's going to amplify all the symptoms, including a racing mind, and it's just going to keep yourself stuck in this cycle of fear, activating the fight or flight system, losing even more sleep, then you become more fearful, and you're just stuck in this loop. So you're probably wondering, where does the racing mind come into play with this cycle? So you likely have some level of sleep anxiety. Whether you can feel it or not, there is some level when you have chronic insomnia. Now, one of the side effects or symptoms of anxiety, sleep anxiety, is a racing mind. These are all fear signals, and the racing mind is meant so that you can think quickly, react quickly in case of danger. Your brain doesn't want you to be slow, low energy. So you're going to have excess energy, your brain is going to be going crazy, you can think quickly. That is meant to keep you safe. So thank your brain, even though it sucks to be awake, thank your brain for always trying to keep me safe. So you have to remember to get down to the root cause of why you have a racing mind it's the fear. The fear of being awake at night and trying to escape it. Those two things right there is how you can overcome insomnia. Of course, there's a lot more strategies to it, but reducing your fear, being willing to be awake, showing your brain that you're not scared, and not trying to escape it. Right there is the root cause of chronic insomnia and your racing mind. Thank you very much. You can go now. You're healed. No, obviously there's going to be more to it, but That is basically what it all comes down to. But instead, what we do when we have a racing mind is we try to meditate. Like, watch the thoughts float by. Try not to think the thoughts. Trying to force relaxation. Maybe it'll force the relaxation in the mind. It'll slow the thoughts down. I don't know, what other stuff do people do? It just basically we try to go directly after the thoughts and reduce them. When in the end, we're not going after the root cause, which is what we need to do. Now, side note, if we're trying to force the thoughts down and we're trying to ignore them and trying to not let them happen, your brain thinks that you're not listening. It's trying to tell you there's danger, it's trying to keep you safe, and you're trying to push it away, you're trying to ignore it, you're trying to not acknowledge it, and you're trying to force it down. So your brain's going to amplify things even more because you're not listening, right? So this is going to come into what we do instead, so I'm not going to talk about it here, but I just really wanted you to understand the difference between the root cause of the racing mind and going after the actual racing mind. It's really important to go after the root cause, right? Now, before I go on to the solutions and what to do, if you want to go after the root cause, like really go after the root cause and reduce your racing mind and get more sleep, then watch my free Insomnia Crash Course. The link is in the description box below. You are really going to understand why you have chronic insomnia and what to do about it. It's going to give you a great first steps and give you a plan of what you need to do so that you can overcome insomnia. Remember, the link is in the description box and it's absolutely free. Okay, so I actually have 7 tips for you. 7 tips to help you reduce your racing mind. Now, we kind of already went after the first one. The first one I was going to talk about is going after the root cause, that fear and trying to escape sleeplessness. Trying to reduce that fear, allow it to happen. I mean, I already just talked about it, but not trying to escape it. Now, you can go through all my other videos. There's even one with a diagram on the thumbnail. That is a perfect one to really understand insomnia and the approach to overcome it. Now, I know it's not specifically about a racing mind, but that is the root cause and what's causing the racing mind in the end. So I highly recommend that one. But that is my first tip. Go after the root cause. Stop trying to only force the thoughts to slow down or trying to relax the mind. You got to go here first. So the next tip is to just allow the racing mind to happen. Just like I always talk about with sleeplessness, allow it to happen. Just allow the thoughts to race, allow them to happen, because if you start to fear those racing thoughts and you're trying to escape them, you're only adding more fear and anxiety on top of it. So the more you can just allow it to happen and be with it, the better off you can be. You will be. Also, not reacting to the thoughts. You can be just an observer of your thoughts going by. You've probably heard that with like meditation or some other things out there, to just observe the thoughts. You're not reacting to them. You're not getting emotional about them. Just watching your thoughts go by, watching them happen, or observing them without reacting to them. You don't want to add the extra layer of fear, fearing the racing thoughts, because it's only going to add to that fear and it's going to amplify things in a way that we don't want. Now, not only do we have a racing mind, but we often have a lot of thoughts and things going on throughout the day that we haven't processed. So when we go to lay down, we have a lot of things to think about, a lot of things going through our mind that we don't know what to do about, and they're stressing us out. So what I recommend is what's called brain breaks. I think I talked about it in the previous 1 or 2 videos ago about taking brain breaks. This is for anyone, absolutely anyone. You don't have to have insomnia to benefit from this. So all throughout the day, we have a habit of constantly taking in information. Our phone is glued, our face is glued to our phone. Our face is glued to the laptop. I keep saying phone. Our face is glued to a book. And we're constantly taking in information, constantly doing something, constantly focused on something. And we're not allowing our brain to actually process this information. We're not allowing our thoughts to go unless it's on whatever we're focused on. So what I usually recommend is a few times a day. You can do as little or as long as you like, but few times a day is really helpful. You could do once a day when you get home from work and just allow your mind to think. That is all you're going to do. You're going to put that cell phone away. You're going to turn it off. You're not going to have notifications. Go sit in a place where you have some privacy. I love to go sit in my backyard because there's a lot of nature around and I hear birds and stuff. And I just let my mind go. I let myself think about whatever I want to think. I let my mind just wander. And it's actually quite enjoyable. And there's always all these different things I forgot about and I discover and I realize, and it's really quite helpful. And oftentimes when we don't take these breaks and we go to lay down in bed, that's the first time we're not taking stuff in. That's the first time your brain is getting a break and being allowed to think and process everything. So we lay down in bed and all these thoughts are just running through our mind, keeping us awake whether we have insomnia or not. So taking those little breaks throughout the day to just sit and allow your mind to think is going to help a lot. Another tip I have is to do a brain dump. I think I've talked about this in multiple videos on this channel about doing brain dumps, which is basically like a brain break, but you're writing everything down. You can write down every little thought that's going on, or you can write down just your fear thoughts, your worry thoughts, every thought that doesn't make you feel good, so that you can reframe it later, which we're going to talk about. But basically you're getting everything out of your mind onto paper, which really helps to show your brain that you are listening. And it just really helps to get it out on paper so that you're not thinking about this stuff later. And I usually recommend you do it like when you get home from work, not right before bed, but when you get home from work, you can kind of process the day out on paper and really start to help your mind get everything out on that paper. It's not easy to do right before bed because which brings me on to my next tip, which is to reframe all those fear-based thoughts, the worry thoughts, the thoughts that don't make you feel well, don't make you feel good, mentally, physically, whatever it may be. So let's say you write everything out on paper. You could focus on just like I mentioned, the fear-based thoughts, the thoughts that don't feel good, getting just those out on paper, or everything, whatever you like, but you're going to go through every single negative thought, every single thought that doesn't make you feel good, and you're going to reframe it to something that feels a little bit better. Now, I'm not one of those people that wants you to go straight from feeling I'm depressed, life sucks, life is horrible, to I'm happy, everything's perfect. You can't do that because you're not going to believe that. You're not really going to feel that. It's going from this negative thought to taking it one step closer. When it comes to sleeplessness or insomnia, I should say, it could be a fear-based thought of I'm not going to be able to get through work tomorrow. I'm going to get fired. That is a common one I hear. Or how I'm going to get through the day. Well, when you're reframing it, you can write things like, well, I have made it through 100% of the time before. Caitlin had insomnia for 30 years and used to get 0 hours sleep for multiple days in a row, then get one single day of 2 to 4 hours, and then go back to multiple days of 0, and she had to be at clinicals 4 a.m. sometimes, and pass nursing school, and graduated with honors. If she can do it, I can do it, and it is possible. I haven't been fired yet, and I've been able to get through the day before. Just things like that, just writing all that down. It's one step closer to feeling better. Something that you can believe, something that's true, that takes you one step out of that funk. You have all these funky negative thoughts, and you just kind of bring yourself, it's like a ladder. Step by step, you're bringing yourself back out. And this also helps to reframe the fears so that you're reducing your fear. Remember, it's the fear and trying to escape sleeplessness that's telling your brain that there is danger. So you're reducing the fear by reframing it step by step. Now, my next tip is to just get on with your life. So you've allowed the racing thoughts to happen. Maybe you've done a brain dump. Maybe you reframed them. And maybe your mind is still racing. You're like, okay, I have a racing mind. I see a little catastrophizing thought. When you're observing, you can start to say like, oh, that's a fear-based thought. Oh, I'm catastrophizing. And kind of like in a non-judgmental way. Like a clinical describing it without reacting with emotions. Now, this tip I was just about to talk about is getting on with your life. So after you've observed, you've done all that, you don't need to sit with it the entire night. Get on with your life without reacting. Allow it to be with you. You're not trying to push it away. You're not trying to ignore it. Just have it be a part of your life. So if it's in the middle of the night, you can't sleep, your mind is racing, then read a book. Do whatever it is that you enjoy doing in the middle of the night when you can't sleep, allowing the racing mind to be there with you. That is the best thing you can do, because if you're in danger, you're not going to be getting on with your normal, relaxed life, doing your daily things. And that kind of sends a signal to your brain that you are safe. So we have talked about at least 7 tips and strategies to help you reduce your racing mind and to get more sleep. Now, I don't recommend trying to do everything all at once because there's a lot to do. Maybe you do 1 a week. You start to implement it and practice it and really start to embody it. Or maybe 1 every few days, whatever seems to work for you, but don't rush the process. That is the biggest mistake I see in my program when people join it, is they start off and they just want to rush through the program, get everything done, and after 2 weeks they're like, I'm not sleeping any better. Well, you did the whole program in 2 weeks. That doesn't give you time to really embody it and practice it and really show your brain that you are safe. So take your time with this. Implement 1 at a time at whatever interval you want to do, and you will start to see some benefits. Also, don't forget to watch my free Insomnia Crash Course. Link is in the description box. And thank you so much for watching today's video, and I'll see you in the next one.